Hello and welcome to the Beefy Tech channel. Today's test is just a silly what if question that struck me recently. Since I've gotten the 4090, I have tested it in 1440p and 4K and have enjoyed the insane overkill performance thoroughly. But since my last 4K test, I had the curiosity of how a 4090 performs at 8K resolution in one of my favorite games, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. By now you would have noticed the campaign testing is in the background and the FPS is quite high even here, although we'll have to go through the settings in a second just so you understand how I got this frame rate. I was going to test more than just COD, but I only have a 4K TV, meaning I need 200% render resolution to reach 8K, and I didn't want to use any DLSS, so this would be theoretically full-blown 8K. Thus, I stuck with testing just Call of Duty for this one. Keep in mind, all my testing is recorded with NVIDIA Shadowplay, so there is a 2 to 5% performance loss while recording. My system specs will be in the description below, including my overclocks and undervolts. Please remember that I'm aware that nearly nobody plays at 8K resolution as of today, but it's fun to take a look at the absurd performance of the 4090 using an absurd scenario such as 8K resolution. And as you can see, I have decided to maintain the same settings that I would normally use in multiplayer in Warzone for even just testing campaign, because otherwise it would be difficult to reach playable frame rates in a competitive shooter essentially, and even in campaign. With that said, the settings I have used are 200% render resolution while my TV was set to 4K. The rest of the settings are all the same as before, and I did not enable anything outside of Windows to upscale just within the game itself. Multiplayer might be one of the least demanding modes within Warzone and Modern Warfare, but as you can see, it is still making my 4090 beg for its life as it's nearing its power limit, which is 450 watts. I've actually gotten the 4090 set to its default fan curve, and as you can see, the GPU is getting quite hot at this default fan curve, reaching nearly 70 something degrees within Call of Duty, which normally does not happen, but the frame rates are very good, and overall, the game runs smooth. Moving on to the new map, Ashika Island, the situation's quite similar. The GPU is hot as fuck, the wattage is near to max, and the frame rates are good and consistent. But now you might be noticing that graph over there on the left side, the frame rate graph, is a bit weird, and by that I mean there's very clearly spikes in there. And I'll be entirely honest with you guys when I say that I see those spikes, but I did not feel them in game, and I did not feel it affecting my gameplay in the slightest way. I did my best to try feel what was causing them and figure out what was causing them, but I have no idea. It might just be Warzone being like that normally, or it might not. Regardless, it didn't feel in game, so it doesn't matter. The FPS is good, and overall I was satisfied with the experience. At this point, it should be quite obvious that the 4090 is fully capable of doing 8K high refresh if you have the right settings within Warzone 2. If you've got an 8K TV, be my guest, enjoy yourself, you're gonna be getting good frames as long as you're running the same settings as I did over there. You might be noticing that frame rate and frame time graph are still spiking, but no worries, I felt absolutely nothing in game and everything was perfectly smooth from that perspective. It's just the graphs that are being a bit wonky right now. I did then go off of Mazrah Highway specifically to test a couple other parts and double check that the FPS consistency around the map is okay, but as you can see, if you look to a different side, the FPS doesn't change and the graphs remain the same. I have absolutely no idea why those graphs have so many spikes in them, and I have no idea what it specifically means, so I'm being completely honest with you guys with that. But overall, it felt perfectly smooth, so I don't think it's a particular issue if it doesn't affect gameplay. I did want to mention though, that enabling NVIDIA low reflex latency might actually fix what's happening on that graphs right there and lower the latency. Because I normally am in a CPU bound situation in this game, I left that setting off. But for a GPU bound situation as this is, it's better to turn that on. And finally, I did want to mention that while Modern Warfare 2 looked great at 8K resolution, if you do take a single player game like Need for Speed Unbound, slap it to 8K Ultra and then try play, there's a very good chance you're gonna be under 60 FPS. Yes, you can overclock the 4090 further, upload a VBIOS that has more power, stuff like that, and squeeze a couple more frames, but generally if you're playing single player games, you will have to drop the settings just like you would with a multiplayer game to be able to reach above 60 to 70 FPS with a 4090 at 8K. That doesn't mean that it's unplayable, it just means that you have to make that small sacrifice. Anyway guys, today's video was a quick one. I just wanted to show you how OP the 4090 can be and have you guys enjoy that alongside me. With that said, have a good one guys, thank you for all the support and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.